Welcome back to Best of the Bets. I'm Christina Nicolaides and we're looking at Sunday's football action. We've got FA Cup, we've got Premier League and we're looking at some of the European games as well. I have our regular guest with me, our football expert and editor of bestofthebets.com. It's Sam Dymond. How are you doing, Sam?
Very well, Christina, thank you.
And we have our bookie extraordinaire with us. It is Gareth Walker. How are you doing, Gareth?
Very well, thank you.
Right, we're going to start off with the second semi-final for the FA Cup. All eyes on Wembley. Chelsea versus Manchester City.
Chelsea are priced at 3. The draw is 3.3 and Manchester City are favourites at 2.3.
It's a good time for the Man City to be playing this game. But what you can really never look past with Chelsea in the FA Cup is just their phenomenal record in this competition. Because in the past 7 seasons, they've just lost 1 of 40 games, winning 32. And they've actually won the cup 4 times in that time. It's absolutely astonishing. But I just have the feeling that Man City have the edge over them in this meeting. Some tremendous stats courtesy of Mike Holden this week, where the last 8 league meetings between these two have been level at half time, and City have ended up winning 5 of them. And I can see it kind of developing into a similar sort of game.
Yeah, I like City to win on Sunday.
I think it'll be quite a sort of tight, gritty game. I think no David Silva, so certain lack of creativity in the Man City team. But when you got sort of Sergio Aguero coming back in such match-winning form, we looked at it in midweek, and in the last 20 FA Cup semi-finals, 7 of them have finished 1-0. And I just kind of think that's the kind of way City are going to play these Wembley games. So I quite like Manchester City to win the game, but 1-0 as well.
1-0's priced at 7.4. Factor that Sam hasn't mentioned there is that Chelsea are in Moscow on Thursday night. Yeah. So that's got to be a disadvantage in preparation. So I'm always looking to take on these teams that have been in Europe in the week. However, on this occasion, I can't pass Chelsea over at 3 to win, because there's just something about the cup. There's just a question mark to me. How much does the FA Cup mean to all of City's amazing players? I mean, you could probably question the same thing about Chelsea, but Chelsea have just got that spine of players who, for them, they really want to win this FA Cup. And I mean, I think record in the cup is just phenomenal.
It is incredible. I think also Chelsea being in Russia is another reason why I think it's going to be a game that could end up being settled quite late on, just if they start to tire.
Gareth, you've got a promotion for us for this game.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, particularly if you fancy Chelsea to win, the HeavenBet offer is that if Juan Mata scores the first goal in this match, then losing correct score and first last goal scorer bets will be refunded. So I am keen on Chelsea. I do think they'll win. OK. We are going to move on to Newcastle versus Sunderland, and I'll say it before you do. Relegation 6-pointer. Newcastle are 1.9 to win this one. The draw's 3.5 and Sunderland 4.3.
Sunderland don't really have the best record in the Tyne-Wear derby. Won 1 of the last 16 games, but they're usually tight. I remember a 5-1 for Newcastle a couple of seasons ago.
Tension's always running high.
3 of the last 4 have finished 1-1, 4 of the last 6, and neither team has scored more than 1 goal in the last 4 derbies. So usually quite a cagey afternoon. But I think we're agreed that Sunderland probably produced their best 45 minutes of football of the season against Chelsea.
Oh, undoubtedly, no coincidence that.
And Simon Mignolet's come out this week and said there is suddenly this renewed team spirit in the Sunderland camp, and it's going to have to be.
Which is what they were hoping for.
Well, exactly. They're going to need that, because we've been saying it, they're only heading one way, and no Fletcher, no Catamol. Now Craig Gardner's out of this game. He's suspended.
I just don't see how Sunderland can do it. They just don't have at least Newcastle, they've got talent on the team.
Well, the one way I think they can do it is the fact that Newcastle are going to have played Benfica on Thursday night. We don't know how that result's gone, but I think it's going to be quite another emotional evening for Newcastle. And this will be their 4th game in 10 days. And in the previous 3, those 2 Benfica games and the Fulham game, spent a lot of emotional energy. I just wonder, it could have pretty much the same team throughout. Alan Pardew's been playing his strongest team for all those games. And I just wonder, will that catch up with them at this game on a Sunday afternoon in a huge local derby? I'd probably like a bit of a bigger price, but I think at 4.3, Sunderland, is that right?
Sunderland 4.3 to win.
I think I'm just going to go with them there.
I mean, this Benfica factor on Thursday is what's putting me off really steaming into Newcastle here, because Newcastle are a superior team to Sunderland.
Definitely.
Sunderland much improved in that first 45 minutes against Chelsea, but ran out of steam badly in the second half. I think they're probably the unfittest team in the Premier League.
Well, he said as much, didn't he, afterwards to Canio?
Yeah, I mean, but the idea of going on the field with tactics and with some pressing game, completely new, and the players completely out steam near the end, and you'd imagine that's going to happen again. You can't just get a team fit in a week.
Yeah.
The angle I like here is that Sunderland are going to come out the traps, have a real throw everything at Newcastle.
Yeah.
And Newcastle have got this recent record of all these late goals, winning games throughout the last 4 home games they've scored.
So you're going Sunderland half-time, Newcastle full-time.
You've got me. That's precisely what I'm doing, and that's priced at 22, which I really like.
Ooh.
Sunderland to score the first goal is 2.25. But I do think that Newcastle are going to edge out Sunderland here.
So we'll see what happens. We're going to move on to Stoke versus Manchester United. It just keeps getting worse and worse for Stoke.
Well, Stoke are 6.7 to win this. The draw's 3.9 and Manchester United are 1.55.
Stoke are just awful. Lost 9 of the last 12.
Yeah.
If the season had started on January the 1st, they'd have 5 points. They'd be 4 points off Sunderland, who are the next worst. I think that says it all, really. Man United have won 8 and drawn 1 of the 9 meetings in the Premier League between these two sides. It's very hard to see beyond a United success, bouncing back from the Derby defeat. I don't think it'll be comprehensive. I think it'll be United doing what they've done in recent weeks and just grind out a 1-0 win, and that'll be enough for them. Under 2 goals is a bet for me. Under
2 goals, which is priced at 2.5, so if there are exactly 2 goals in the game, then you get your stakes back. 1-0 United is 5.5. Having said all that, it's a decent time to play United because their season is pretty much finished. They will win the Premier League, despite the fact they're having a bit of a stutter there. They weren't convincing in beating Reading or Sunderland recently, and you probably compare Stoke to both of those teams at the moment. But at the prices, I'm prepared to side with Stoke on the handicap. Stoke plus 0.75 on the Asian handicap is priced at 2.1, so odds against. I do like that bet. Or if you want a slightly safer play, Stoke plus 1 is priced at 1.9. Money back if United win by 1. You bet to winner with any better result than that for Stoke.
Right, you've heard what the boys have had to say about Stoke versus Manchester United. It is time to hear what Mike Holden has to say.
And the manner of the defeat to City kind of opened up a few old wounds of, how they collapsed last season in the running. And it might lead to a little bit of mental fragility over the coming weeks. It's inconceivable, I think, that United will throw the title from this point. But the next couple of games could be interesting, and Stoke's timing might be ideal here. There's been quite a hostile atmosphere at the Britannia Stadium towards their own team in recent weeks. But this will be a different kettle of fish entirely. I think the Stoke fans know that the players need them right behind them to have a squeak of getting anything out of this game. So I think the crowd will be, back to what it was in years gone by. And I think the fact that there's no pressure on Stoke, it gives them a real opportunity to put on a big performance that, gives them the result to pull away from danger.
Right, so we are moving on to the European games. We're going to start in Italy with Serie, and we've got Genoa versus Sampdoria.
It's a local derby and it's a relegation 6-pointer. Fantastic, my 2 favourite ingredients. Genoa 2.5, draw 3.2, and Sampdoria 3.2 also.
When we spoke about Genoa before, you were very keen on them, and it's
it's
not quite.
The form since has been pretty woeful.
Yeah, drawn 2, lost 4 of the last 6, and I saw their first half against Napoli last weekend. They lost 2-0. And the stories coming out were that David Ballardini was very nearly sacked again post-match, but he seems to
no more
escape
sacking since we last discussed them. That's a fact.
No, but what I was quite impressed with Genoa early on. They attacked quite well, and the wonderfully named Ciro Immobile sort of looked a real handful. So I think there's reasons to be quite positive about them for this game. Sampdoria, pretty much, they are safe now really for this season, but their recent form hasn't been so good. Lost the last 2 and no wins in 4, and they played some pretty average teams, and that ended a great run of 6 matches where they were unbeaten. Funnily enough, they came into this fixture at the start of the season in bad form, lost 7 straight games, and they won 3-1, so maybe it's very much them getting up for this game, but I just think Genoa can edge this one. I like Genoa.
And they're playing for pride.
They're playing for survival.
I prefer Genoa actually. I was first looking at the pricing. I'm always fascinated in how these games are priced up when there's only the home advantage is really only nominal because the 2 teams play in the same stadium. But looking at it, I mean, this game in my head, I'm thinking, it's a right old unders fest. This game. Traditionally, it always would be very low goals, but actually looking more recently, the last 2 have both been over 2.5, and 4 of the last 6 have been over 2.5. So I think there'll be goals. And I think Genoa will win the game. Actually, I'm looking at sort of maybe a 3-1 victory, even 17.3 is good. But I think that I'll definitely be looking at overs, over 2.5, over 3, and home win. I think. Well, Genoa win, I should say, not home win.
Right, so we're staying in Italy, we're staying with Serie, and we're moving on to third versus second.
So Milan are 2.05 to win this game, the draw's 3.4, and Napoli are 3.9.
Milan showed their fighting spirit when they came from 2-0 down at Napoli earlier in the season to get a 2-2 draw thanks to an El Shaarawy brace. And it's a fighting spirit they've showed ever since, because they've really just climbed back into contention when no one gave them a chance. They were 13th at that point. They haven't got any
distractions either.
They haven't got any distractions, and their recent form has been fantastic. 1 defeat in 19, and they've won the last 8 at the San Siro. So I think a lot of people would make them sort of worthy favourites for this game. But I'm going to take them on here for a couple of reasons. One, Mario Balotelli suspended, picked up another booking.
Smoking in the toilet.
Yeah, if he's travelling to this game, let's hope he's not doing it by train. And Napoli have just seemed to have got back into the winning habit. They were very questionable about a month ago, but they've won the last 3, scoring 10 goals in the process, and that ended a run of 4 draws and a defeat. And I think it's no coincidence that it's to do with the fact that Edison Cavani's back in scoring form. And I quite like Napoli 3-1 here. It looks a good bet to me.
Okay. Gareth?
Well, I'm going to go for the draw, and I'm quite confident with the draw. It seems sometimes a bit of a cop-out to be tipping up a draw, because it's sort of sitting on the fence a little bit. But just with this game, I just think that the overriding aim for both teams will be to avoid losing the game. And whenever you've got that in mind, where you think, well, actually both teams wouldn't mind a point. Certainly Napoli would settle for a point without a doubt. I guess Milan do want to win, but I think a draw at 3.4 is a good way of playing this.
Okay, so the last game we're going to look at, we are going to France, and Marseille are travelling to Lille.
Lille are 2.1, the draw's 3.3, and Marseille are 3.8.
Barton's a doubt, and Mathieu Valbuena's also a doubt, and so that would be a couple of others
doubts.
That'd be a much bigger loss. We've tried to take Marseille on numerous times in sort of the last couple of months, and it hasn't really worked. They've made me eat my words on a couple of occasions, but I'm going to do it again anyway, because Lille are having their now traditional end of season run for glory. They've won 7 of the last 8. The only defeat in that time was a shock reverse to Evian, and that was all to do with some very amusing antics from Solomon Kalou, where he scored the opener, scored an own goal, missed a penalty, and Evian ended up winning.
An old player, a lot of the old Chelsea fans love that.
Absolutely. But he's playing back in the middle now. Nolan Roux seems to have departed onto the bench, and it's made just Lille sort of a much more balanced team. They finally made their new ground as well a bit of a fortress, beat Lorient 5-0 last weekend. And I just like them. They're 5 points behind Marseille going into this game. I think they can close that gap.
Lille here, 2.1. I think that's a very fair price. I think it would be a cagey game because Marseille will be set out very defensively, as French teams just generally are. So you got 0 to 1 goal in the match, priced at 2.95.
That's very wise, because it's worth mentioning, a bit of credit to Marseille, is they won their last 2 games by a goal to 0, and they've now kept 4 clean sheets in a row, so they're grinding them out.
I do like that. Much going on, 1-0 is my correct score pick to Lille, which is priced at 6.
So you've heard what the boys have had to say. Now it is time to hear from you. At KBA_HQ, Power Table Sport, NUFC official. Quite a mouthful. Prediction for the Newcastle versus Sunderland match, 0-0, but we think NUFC have the edge.
Very unbiased view. That's priced
one of yours.
Priced at 9 for no goals in the Newcastle Sunderland match.
Sam?
Yes.
Best bets.
Best bet
Sunday.
Well, it's this sort of tough set of fixtures.
You're not going with Fulham, are you?
No, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to upset some of your friends. I'm going to go for Sunderland at 4.3.
I'm going to go into Italy, and I'm going to go for Genoa as my best bet, 2.5.
OK, and I'm going to stick with the FA Cup, Manchester City to beat Chelsea.
Manchester City priced at 2.3.
OK. For you to place your bets on any of this weekend's games and for all your latest betting odds, head to our website, which is heavenbet.com. For our Danish viewers, you can watch the show back on footy.dk. You can also tweet us using the hashtag BOTBBestBet, and you can place your bets on mermaidbet.dk. We'll join you same time, same place next week to look at more football action. See you then.
HeavenBet.com, a new betting site from Poker Heaven.